Welcome back, YouTube. Scotty Boy here. Yes, I'm back in Campus Inn. Seems like a place you have a hard time avoiding, especially during training. You're always going to be reeled back in, but that's fine. Yeah, I don't mind it here a bit, and I'll even give a plug to the cleaning staff here. They are absolutely phenomenal. They do a great job, and they're all very personable. And I'm in a different building, but just had them knock on the door, and it was one of my favorites from the old side. So we had a nice conversation, caught up. So very, very, very good in that department. I'm going to get into this. This one is going to be about that nagging voice. It's going to be really focused, and I see you out there. Those few of you that are still kind of teetering on the edge. Do I uproot from this, what I know to be my stable life, and turn it all on its ear and go trucking? And there's those 6 or 7 little things that just nag at you. Is this going to be the right choice for me or not? Can I do it? And those little things that say, oh my God, what do you think you're getting into? And whatever those barriers are mentally that are holding you back for whatever reason from just jumping in with both feet. We're going to take those on. I'm going to take myself back to maybe August, September of last year, and let you know the things that were on my mind that were holding me back from making that final decision. But before I do so, I feel like there's something I really got to get off my chest. I've been kind of living with some secrets that I want to just go ahead and put out there, and I hope that by doing so, is not going to jeopardize, the career that I've chosen and moving forward through training. But it's just something that's been nagging at me. Like many of you, we've watched 1,000 hours of trucker YouTube. I've watched, I didn't count, but it was maybe 30 different channels of people going through, what I'm going through right now, PSD and TNT, and some of them, trucking, just seasoned truckers doing the daily vlog. And I've come to realize some patterns that they all kind of share. And to my dismay, I don't share them, unfortunately. And I'm just hoping that after I confess this, that, I'll be able to continue. The first of which, I don't vape. I'm sorry. I quit smoking in 2002, and to my knowledge, I don't think vapes even existed back then. So I know all truckers vape or smoke. I don't even own a vape. All right, this feels good. All right, number 2, this is a biggie. My favorite foods are not steak or tacos. And if I'm being honest with myself, they're not even in my top 10. I do eat some red meat, and I don't hate steak, but it's not something I ever crave. And this is tough to say, but when I do eat a burger or a steak, well done is the only way to go, guys. It really is. Pink is just uncooked flesh. I don't care what you tell yourself. That's what it is. It's blood and flesh in your burger. No, thank you. I know. This is tough to hear. The last one, I don't know. I have never in my life pounded an energy drink. I've never had one. Not once. This is my energy drink. Coffee, and way too much of it. So, feels really good to get that off my chest. But I hope that Prime and you drivers out there can still accept me. I'm filled with shame. I really am. I wish I could be different, but I'm 49 and set in my ways, so you're going to have to take me or leave me. So anyway, I wanted to get that off my chest. I feel so much better now. All right. quick update. I just put out a video yesterday, so you've heard most of it. I am back in Campus Inn. I am scheduled for my CDL. I've got several days left before that happens, but I'm scheduled, which is exciting. We are back in Springfield to spend basically roughly, better part of a week out on the pad. I still have to learn alley dock and parallel. You've probably seen the other videos and maybe Eric's that I learned pretty quickly the first two, which are admittedly probably the easiest. The straight back and the offset. The opposite steering thing kind of clicked with me quickly. I didn't know that it would coming out here. That was an intimidation, but it came to me pretty quickly. Understanding small adjustments and steering towards your problem just clicked with me. So I'm hoping that those little pieces, along with whatever Eric has for me as far as markers and formulas for backing, will mesh again. So kind of feeling pretty confident going into that it's going to work out. But yeah, I've got several days. We're also going to just drive around Springfield, around Prime, a lot of the routes that are typically used on the tests, and just drive those quite a bit so I get familiar with the routes and the turning and that kind of thing. I do need some practice on right turns and left turns. I haven't had a ton of, I've driven a bunch, but a lot of it's been, hours of basically going straight. So I did need some work on that. So that's where I am. I've got several days. We're on a technical 34 right now. Can't really do anything until tonight. Eric likes to train at night. I do too. The pad's nice and clear. It's a good time to do it. So we'll be doing that several nights, and then I won't give you the exact date, but next week I'll be hopefully trifecta-ing. That's my goal, my mission. Not the end of the world if it doesn't happen, but I've done a lot of preparation. I've worked real hard, and to me, I should get the trifecta. I deserve it, at least based on the work I've put in. But things happen, so I'm not gonna beat myself up if it doesn't work. But you'll know either way. I'll let you know. All right, topic for today: intimidation. And I'm really talking. I see you out there. I see you. Those of you who were where I was August and September of last year, where I'm miserable in my job, struggling with just life outside of the job. Not everything's about job and money, Those of you, and I'm not trying to be sexist or anything, but men feel this, I think, rather across the board and rather acutely. Your head hits that pillow and you just start beating yourself up, eyes wide open half the night, about all the things that, aren't working, and, you're beating yourself up, that your family doesn't have everything you want them to have, and, that you're just not where you want to be in job and life and all that stuff. And you just sit there wide awake and, kind of going through a mini panic attack each night, So I think some of you out there have probably experienced what I'm talking about. So what do? You go start, maybe within your career, you start looking in your field, you start looking for other jobs, and, you start telling yourself, am I just jumping out of one frying pan into the fire, am I going to be happier in this mental health agency after the mental health agency I just left? Will I be able to move up? It's more likely that I'm going to be lateral or lower, moving out. So those things kick in, and you begin to tell yourself that maybe, something radically different is called for. Just slipping over to another job within the same field, paying probably about the same amount, isn't going to get you anywhere. May give you a little bit of stress relief for a little bit because you're exiting a rough situation, but it's not going to do it. So somehow you start looking at trucker YouTube, not necessarily Prime at first. For me, I think it was CR England, Swift. I think my first Google search was trucking in Virginia, I think is where it started, and Prime didn't come up. because it doesn't have a terminal in Virginia. So, but the more you look at that stuff, and I watched a lot of videos and negative, positive on everything, but you started seeing people from Prime, and not all of them were positive, but most of them were, and most of them talked very highly about the company and were smiling. You know, they enjoyed what they were doing. And then you find out it's one of the only, if not the only, I don't know, but it's one that you can go with your pockets pulled out empty, and you can get your CDL and jump into a career that pays really good money, you know. But still, trying to dislodge from, you know, I'm 15 years into a career and moved right on up, and I was at the top of that career. The problem was it wasn't quite enough to get me to, you know, the good life that I had hoped I'd be in by now. So that was the dilemma. And I've watched a ton of the trucker YouTube. I've talked to truckers now, and my first intimidation piece, the money, uprooting from this, giving up on my retirement, as it would have been at least, and all that. I feel really good about that. That intimidation is gone. I've talked enough to know that if I make in trucking what I made in my former position, and I'll say it was right around 70,000, then I'm a terrible trucker. It's gonna be better, So that's an intimidation I can check off the list, And so that's the first of 7 that I want to go through, and hopefully target those of you out there that are just, and understandably so, terrified to make that commitment, to say, damn it, gonna do it. I'm heading to Prime or trucking, whatever. So that's number 1, the money. I feel incredibly confident that the money is there. That's no longer an issue. And I do have a list here, so you'll see me down here. Now, talking just about the driving and the truck itself. The largest thing, I grew up in a family that had our kind of vacation vehicle of choice. We always had a custom van in those days. You don't see them very often, but the cool ones with the raised roof and the bed in the back, and neat little. Ours had a wine rack in the back, which none of us drank wine, and why would you do that in the back of a custom van anyway? But it did. The back doors had a wine rack, but we liked custom vans. So that was the biggest thing I drove my entire life before coming here. My dad has a F-350. I've driven that a little bit, but I've never pulled a trailer. I seem to think I might have once driven the F-350 with their fifth wheel one time just to give them a break crossing states, but it was straight, not a big deal, but never backed anything like that. So the size of the vehicle, I remember back in August and September going, holy crap, can you even imagine driving something like that out in in traffic? Can't imagine. I get nervous driving my car when I'm driving through cities and things like that. The debate is over, people. Size does not matter. It doesn't. When you start driving the vehicle, you're up high, and it is long. But that isn't what you're focused on once you start driving a little bit. Maybe that first day, the size is intimidating. For one thing, you're up high, you can see everything so much better, once you get used to the height. Which, side note, I drive a Dodge Challenger. And I just, after being on the road a week in the truck driving that, it felt like Mario Kart going from Eric's house to Prime. I truly felt my butt was dragging the ground. It was a very weird experience driving my car again. Anyway, back on track. It's not the length of the vehicle, it's not the size that you focus on. It doesn't matter. It could be 10, 20 feet longer. What it is that you are hyper focused on is, and I said it in the last video, it's the back end, where it is in the lane. It's not exactly what, your front, when you drive a car, you are relatively certain that your front wheels are going to lead the way and the back wheels go exactly where your front wheels just were. It's not the case with big rigs, and especially when the tandems are back there. You really do. You're steering forward, but you're really steering the back. And the key to that, and it took me a little time to get used to this, is you need to forget about shoulders being off limits. You take what space you are given, basically, in most driving situations. When you're turning right, turning left, even around clover leaves, things like that. If there is some space beyond the line when you're turning, you take it, you know. So the size is not the issue. And that was one of the things that worried me the most back in August, is driving such a huge vehicle. In many ways, it works to your advantage. You're the biggest thing around you other than other trucks. And people tend to, get out of your way or want to get past you real quick. So the problems tend to not linger around your truck. So that's not a big deal. Being away from family, that's a big one for people, especially people that still have children at home. And I've said, personally, I would not have done this if my children were younger. It's no judgment on anybody that has chosen to do so. It's just, for me, it would not have been something that I would have tried. My kids are teenagers, 14 and 15. They seem perfectly adjusted to this. Before I left and during, they've been fine. My wife, I worried a little bit more. I'm kind of an introvert. I'm happy to kind of sit in silence and that kind of thing for long periods of time. She's a social person. That's who she is. And I knew this was going to be rough on her. But I won't go back into so much of that earlier video, but I don't know, in my first 7 or 8 videos where I walk you through all the process of coming to Prime, one of them was the family. I think I named it The Family Matters. Talking about our plans for remaining connected while we were out here. And we followed most of what I said. The biggie being that we decided, and this is a tip of the hat to Travis Kinley. I got this from him. And I highly recommend it. For one thing, make sure your family is 100% on board and understands all of your whys. Why are you doing this? They have to understand why you're leaving them. And they have to understand, at least in my case, it's for them. I'm staring at my kids getting to be 18, not too terribly long. What do I have for them? What doors can I open like my parents did for me? So it was a necessity to me to do something. So they need to understand that. Don't just do it with that, tucked away in your brain. They need to know. So yeah, make sure you're very open, and they need to all be on the same page. I also strongly recommend, if thinking twice, if you're having any kind of marital conflict or anything, trust issues, things like that, you got to get that locked down before you come out here. I can't imagine trying to drive that and being away from home if you're worried about what's going on out there, or if you're, I don't get into, what I'm talking about. Try to get your family life locked down. Now, I will tell you, communication has not been a problem. A little bit, once I got on the road, the timing of it, and you don't have privacy like you did before, like even here in Campus Inn. So the timing's been it, but we're talking more than we did when I was at home, no doubt. We're talking usually once a day. We're texting off and on all day long and everything, But when I was home, we're like most families. I think teenagers are up in their room doing their thing. Wife and I sit face forward watching TV, talking a little, but that was life. And it's kind of funny. I think it was maybe week 2 or something being here. I was having we were doing these conversations where it almost felt obligatory, and I think that's from both sides. We need to talk every night, since you're gone. And we were maybe in minute 40, and we were just we had nothing left to talk about. It was just kind of babbling and goofing off, which is fine. Eventually, I had to just stop and say, I love you all, absolutely 100%, and I need this. But my ADHD cannot take a 20-minute conversation or more. It just, I'm over here just going to dying, like, oh my God, how do we get off the phone? And that's okay, you know. Um, so she had a laugh too. She said, even me, I kind of get what you're saying, you know. Um, you kind of run out of things to talk about. So at least for communication, not a problem. You're going to be talking more than you ever did before, probably. So that's been good. Also, you know, I am looking at once I test out, I'm planning once I do all the paperwork and then all that stuff and I'm cleared, I'm hopping in the car, going to take my car home. And Eric's told me it'll probably be maybe 4 days, which I'm really looking forward to. And I know my family's definitely looking forward to. Something I'll add. You know, my life at home was, you know, what movie do we want to watch tonight? I'm not doing that anymore. You know, I've told them, I got 2 kids and a wife, and I said, I want y'all all to come up with something you want to do while I'm home, and hopefully it's something active, or at least getting out of the house. You know, I don't want to just jump back into my old bad habits of just sitting there watching TV. So that's something I'd also recommend. You know, on the home time, plan ahead, get them planning, and make use, really live life in those. You know, you're going to be gone for a month at least, you know, and then home for 7 to 10 days. It seems like that seems to be the pattern once people get kind of in their flow. Make the best of it. Live those 10 days, you know, and I think you can pack more life in 10 days off or 7 days off than you can in a month of just, you know, going through your normal 9 to 5 routine and settling in for the night. You know, we can make this even better, I think. You know, haven't done it yet. We're going to try. So that's the other thing. You know, communication. You're not really apart as far as that goes. You know, you're going to probably be communicating more than you want, to be quite honest. All right. And this is going long, but I want to go through, let's see, away from family. Let's see. Traffic, I kind of already talked about that. You know, you think that size is the problem in traffic. Um, the thing with Prime, you're governed, so you're already going slower than most everybody else. And if you're looking to have good miles per gallon, you know, and that kind of thing, you're going to go slower than that, you know. So traffic, you know, I used to get stressed in my own car driving through cities. And that's because you're going with the flow of traffic and everybody around you zipping around and you're zipping around and this and that, and it's a stressful thing. In a Prime truck, everything's right past you. You know, the idiot cars, the ones that are really aggressive, they're gone in a moment. You know, they're past you. You know, everybody's just moving past you. So it's a little unnerving with people passing you. But the traffic stress that I used to feel and I thought would be magnified with a truck is not. You slow it down and the world passes you by, you know, and you're just kind of in your own. I kind of thought of it like I'm in my own little steel bubble, you know, that I put around the whole truck. We're going to truck at our own pace and nothing can touch us. And I mean that by knowing what's around me, by looking at my mirrors and that kind of thing. So that's an intimidation that's pretty much gone away. I'm not going to say it wasn't stressful. Yeah, I went through Atlanta. It's not even the worst city, but it's a tough city from what Eric was saying. It was stressful. It was, but it wasn't what I thought it would be. I thought it would be like 10 times worse than driving a car. It's not. It's roughly the same. I didn't feel more stressed driving a big rig, you know, through a city than I would have if had been in my car. A little unnerving because you have to watch the back end, you know, around clover leaves and things like that. So I'm not going to lie to you. It was stressful, but, you know, it wasn't exponentially worse than driving a car. Backing, I'm going to try to speed up a little bit. Backing, I've already said, at least the first 2 I came to an understanding with very quickly, hoping the next 2 are roughly the same. I'll let you know if it doesn't. If I struggle a lot, I'll be honest. But I know I'll get it. I'm not worried about that. I will get it. We'll spend enough time out there where I'll feel 90% confident going into the test. So hopefully it'll be just like last time, and you know, it's just something that I take to. We'll see. Let's see. I can't read my own writing. I've already talked about, worried about, you know, since I'm a heavy guy, you know, I worried that You hear about the truck stops and the food, and will I gain weight while I'm out here? Truthfully, this is my trucking journey, and I joked in one of my first 2 videos or so, it's going to be a short life journey if I let the trucking lifestyle, get the best of me in this department. So I'm going into this committed. I'm going to be losing weight out here, not gaining, and we'll take on that adventure when it's time. Right now, I'm in training, and that's what we're talking about, and I'm losing weight without even trying, really. So I talked about that in the last video, so won't go into that. The last thing, my last intimidation was driving a big rig in bad weather, snow and rain and that kind of wind. I did have a little bit of wind, nothing major, but enough where I gained a healthy respect and understand that you do have to. It's no joke, you do have to watch, the gusts, and have the apps windy, the windy app, and know if you're heading to areas like that, there is a certain point where it's just stupid to be out on the road. There's nothing you can do to stop a major gust of wind. It's gonna hit you, and there's not a whole lot left to do other than you need to make the decision not to be out there. So but whether I didn't drive through snow. I was up while Eric drove hours. He talked about it in his video. We were tracking right with it. It wasn't a real wide band, but it was moving a few miles an hour faster than we were. So we traveled with it all night. And I watched what he was doing. And in trucking, what I've seen is all problems, or nearly, I'll put all in quotes, I'm sure it's not all, but most problems in trucking issues are solved by just slowing down. That's it. Just take it a little slower, or stop, which Prime gives you. This is another thing that you can rest easy with Prime. You're the captain of your ship. If you're not comfortable, if you think it's unsafe, then it's unsafe, and you stop. And you call your dispatcher, and they're supposed to say, Roger that, 10-4, tell me when you're ready to go. So that's something that you can check off the list, if that's something that's worrying you. So I haven't done the weather yet. I haven't driven in it. But I saw, when things got sketchy, he slowed down. And we weren't all over the road or anything, but we were going through a blizzard. And for the most part, it was steady rolling. I know he was stressed out, as anybody would be, but it wasn't like I didn't feel unsafe at all. We were not slipping and sliding and just rolling on, super trucking it down the road. He had control of the vehicle the whole time. So that's it. I just really wanted to put something out there that was directed to people that were exactly where I was, 6 to 8 months ago, just right before making that decision. Or maybe some of you have made the decision but still have a few of those intimidations. I've been in this just long enough where I'm starting to check those intimidations off the list, and I wanted to provide that to you. It's not a stress-free life. It's not going to be a stress-free existence, but I don't notice that it's more or less than my last. Well, yes, it is less stress than my last one. No question about it. It's less stress. It's a less stressful existence. So I just wanted to offer you that because I'm going through the same thing many of you are going through, and maybe a couple months ahead of you. But if you're teetering on the edge and some of these are the nagging thoughts that are in your mind, rest assured it's not as bad as you think. I can guarantee that. Those fears are going to go away. There are certain things you need to be careful of and vigilant about, but you're building it up too big on your mind. This is all doable. I don't care who you are, male, female, what's your height, anything. You can do this. You just got to come out here with the right mindset. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope this will help a few of you to jump in. And again, maybe it's not trucking, but jump into something that will make your life better. So yeah, and I don't usually tag this on there, but I need to start. Please, if you're getting something out of this, like, subscribe, ring the bell, throw me some support. And if any of this is helping you to come to a decision, you're getting past some of your fears and come out to Prime, please consider, I'd be honored if you use my referral code. I have it at the beginning and in the description. So it would be a true honor. And I believe in reciprocation. if you we'll figure out some way to I know that you've used my referral code. You and I, if you want it, will have a relationship. We will know each other, and I will be available to you. You'll have my contact information, that kind of thing, and I will make myself available to you throughout the beginning and in your career. So that's my side of it. That's me saying thank you for doing so. So consider it. I appreciate it. It's not what this is about, but it's certainly, I'm not going to scoff at having the efforts that I'm putting forth to help be reciprocated with that, and it'll be a relationship that we mutually benefit from. So consider it. I think that's it. This is this may be my very longest video, but it's okay. This time I'm not going to complain about it. I think it's good stuff to talk about. So until next time, guys, be well.